So it's June 2017. The next Battlefront game was officially teased at E3 and it looked amazing. Classic lightsaber battles, classic music, classic introductions. DICE is saying that the game is gonna have content spanning across all eras of Star Wars.
All eras of Star Wars, playable in Battlefront 2.
All post-launch content would be 100% free, and it would have a single-player campaign, something fans had been begging for ever since the previous game. They were even calling it the most ambitious title EA has ever worked on.
Creating probably what I think is the most ambitious title that EA's ever embarked upon.
This game was already looking and sounding like it had captured that Star Wars feel yet again. But fans are skeptical because you see, just 2 years ago when Battlefront 2015 released, it too was absolutely gorgeous.
Star Wars Battlefront reminds me why I love Star Wars.
It's literally here you are recreating Star Wars moments, and it looks and feels just like you imagined.
There's an immaculate attention to detail here. This looks, feels, and sounds like the original trilogy in almost every way.
Without question, one of the biggest appeals of Star Wars Battlefront is the artwork and absolute authenticity to the original trilogy. From the audio-visual standpoint, it's simply perfect.
But there was a problem.
Battlefront's combat can be monotonous. Star Wars Battlefront lacks the longevity that makes its source material great.
Supremacy and Walker Assault are fun, but they get stale quick.
Battlefront doesn't go much deeper than its ambitious surface appeal. It front-loads its best content, only to fade in quality as the hours roll by.
Once you've played for 5 hours, you've already experienced everything that can happen.
The consensus was clear. After the initial Star Wars nostalgia wore off, the game's lack of content became blatantly obvious. Star Wars Battlefront 2 was going to be the game that fixed this problem. And the best part is, we wouldn't have to wait for very long. However, fans quickly noticed that something was wrong. DICE, where's the Clone Wars content? There's no Grievous, no Obi-Wan, no Anakin Skywalker, no nothing. And to top it all off, there's loot boxes. The main way to progress in Star Wars Battlefront 2 is by unlocking star cards earned from opening crates. Trooper crates are the most expensive at 4,000 credits each. Starfighter crates are 2,400 credits, and hero crates are 2,200 credits. Star cards do everything from increasing stats to granting new abilities on all heroes and classes in the game. Each star card comes in 4 tiers of quality: common, uncommon, rare, and epic. And they're vital for increasing the level of any specific character in the game. But the good news is that they're very easy to get. All you need is your credit card number, the expiration date, and those 3 digits on the back. You could have a significant advantage over another player simply by having better luck when opening crates, or by just opening more crates in general. In other words, the game was pay to win. Let's say you want an upgraded star card for your favorite character, Han Solo. Well, first you have to whip out your mom's credit card and buy some crystals. You got your 4th duplicate of tuned lasers for a TIE fighter that you're never gonna use. Get nerd, thanks for the $5. Fans were pissed.
Like, I can't tell you the amount of times I got like a goddamn stormtrooper pose from this to like this. Like 2 of those.
To be a fan of the new Battlefront series is to live a life of pain and suffering.
You're locked into 3 star card slots total for your trooper or hero. But when you first boot up the game, 2 of those slots are locked, meaning that you can only equip 1 star card, while everybody else that had the game before you already has 3. And in order for you to gain the 2nd and 3rd slot,
Let's go gambling!
but you're in luck. There is one other way to get star cards, and that's by crafting. It costs 40 crafting parts to unlock a star card at common rarity, 80 to upgrade it to uncommon, 120 to upgrade it to rare, and a whopping 480 to upgrade to epic, the highest tier. Let's see how many crafting points I can get from the daily login crate.
You're covered.
We've done pretty well, actually. Not bad.
To make matters worse, the in-game credits are also awarded at a flat rate for a team, regardless of performance, meaning that you, the absolute Giga Chad unit who carried subhuman filth to victory, and the guy that sat in the back of the spawn healbotting all game earned the exact same amount of credits at the end of each game. Players were so frustrated with the system that some of them started using the old tie a rubber band around your controller method. This entire system was a convoluted mess, and fans absolutely hated it. After the beta ends, EA comes out with a statement. Epic Star Cards, the highest tier of Star Cards available at launch, would be removed from crates and would be primarily available through crafting. You now need to reach a certain rank in order to craft upgraded Star Cards. Weapons are now locked behind specific milestones, and class-specific gear and items must be unlocked by playing as that specific class. You know, the way that it is in literally every other game ever. Overall, these changes would take out a significant portion of the randomness involved with opening loot crates. However, concerns about whether or not progression was still dependent on the randomized element of loot crates remained. And on November the 10th, EA and Origin Access members got a chance to find out the answer for themselves.
Here's a frustrating example of Darth Vader. Say you're opening crates and you get just any of these.
Yeah. That you can't use because you can't access the character.
Because you cannot play him yet. What should be a milestone, which are rewards for completing 500 assault kills, I can access this weapon. But I ended up getting it through a loot crate. On face value, by spending all that money and getting all these cards, I was immediately able to get that third card slot.
Yep, that's right. I already have a level 14 interceptor, if you didn't pick that up. And we're absolutely mopping people up because we purchased roughly $90 worth of crates. There is a ton of RNG to the crates, but you most certainly have an advantage.
Despite the continued concerns, DICE devs expressed that these options were not pay to win and that player progress would come down to player skill. And due to the continued concerns, DICE was forced to come out with yet another announcement.
DICE Associate Design Director Dennis Branval said, "You should not ever be match-made together with players who are much better than you are. Ultimately, your effectiveness is going to come down to skill, not the star cards you have."
Battlefront 2 is very black and white about this. You either have the star cards that make you win, or you have nothing and you suck dick. The upgrades very literally make you better at the game.
Meanwhile, over on the Star Wars Battlefront 2 Reddit page, a post was made after some sucker bought $80 worth of crystals so that he could unlock Darth Vader as a playable character. Joke's on him because you can't even buy heroes with the crystals from the shop because they can only be purchased with in-game credits.
You ended my life, and Teddy should have blown your head off. You bitch. You did this shit to me. You did this shit to me. You did this. You ended my life.
This is a touchy situation for me. Just look, just on the camera. Just moments from there was where I got robbed at.
Shortly after this, EA issued a response to the post.
The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes.
A sense of pride and accomplishment? Huh? This, of course, is memed instantly. Fans are pissed. That was it. EA had finally gone too far, and the pride and accomplishment comment was the tipping point. This was supposed to be the most ambitious title EA has ever worked on. The Battlefront 2 subreddit explodes with rage and is subsequently locked down. In just 18 hours, this comment earned more than 250,000 downvotes. The pure, unfiltered, seething rage that fans had for EA at this point would never be forgotten.
One of Satan's greatest soldiers.
And in the days ahead, it would go on to become the most disliked comment in Reddit history, with over 675,000 downvotes. It was so bad that it even went on to receive a Guinness World Record. And in a separate thread, players had begun calculating just how long it would take to unlock every hero in the game without paying any money, and the results weren't pretty. Iconic characters like Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader cost a whopping 60,000 credits each, and could take upwards of 40 hours each to unlock. Even heroes like Leia and Chewie still cost 40,000 credits each. And on top of all of this,
we've done pretty well actually. Not bad.
EA clearly had a gigantic problem on their hands. Devs were allegedly receiving death threats, player counts were dropping off a cliff, and fans were heated.
Guys, I am done. I am selling this game, okay? I am sick and tired of EA's crap.
They had to do something fast. Following this major backlash, EA comes out with yet another statement. They're reducing the amount of credits needed to unlock heroes by 75%. Heroes like Luke and Vader now cost 15,000 credits. Palpatine, Chewie, and Leia 10,000, and Iden 5,000. The uproar from social media and poor press reception on its microtransactions had a negative impact on EA's share price, which dropped by 2.5% on the launch day of the game, and by the end of November, EA had lost $3 billion in stock value. Eventually, mainstream press like CNN began coverage of the microtransactions controversy. This increased attention, along with even more fan complaints, eventually led to the Belgian Gaming Commission launching an investigation into the game for possible gambling practices. Even the Parliament of the United Kingdom investigated the concerns around loot boxes and whether or not they constitute gambling. They were later told by EA that loot boxes are quite ethical and fun.
This game is a Star Wars themed online casino designed to lure kids into spending money. It's a trap.
Despite the complete pile of dog shit that EA brought to the table with its progression system, the overall consensus was that the core gameplay was still an incredible experience.
It gets the fundamentals of Star Wars firefights right, in that its blasters feel and sound especially meaty and satisfying to fire compared to its predecessor.
If there's one thing that Star Wars Battlefront 2 accomplishes well, it's the feeling of being in the exciting universe of the legendary film series.
The absurd progression system doesn't mean the multiplayer itself suddenly isn't fun to play.
During a Reddit AMA leading up to the game's launch, DICE devs spoke about the backlash towards the game, saying, "We were incredibly saddened by the negative response from you, the community on Reddit, about the game. In fact, we hated it. We truly did, because we wanted to make a game that you love. We've made a really cool, fun, and beautiful game, but it was overshadowed by issues with the progression system. We will fix this." And just a couple hours later, one day before release, EA disabled microtransactions entirely. However, many fans couldn't help but wonder, was it all a little too late? November the 17th, 2017. The full game releases and it's already off to a rocky start. Just trying to walk out of spawn is its own challenge. Sometimes the game randomly despawns you after selecting a hero. For whatever reason, speeder bikes can one-shot heroes. There's too many visual bugs to count, and the campaign is just disappointing. For the first couple of weeks after the game's release, things weren't looking too good. Fans were already at wit's end with the shit EA tried to pull with the beta, and now the game is actually out and the servers are just complete garbage. But about a month goes by and the first official season rolls out.
We have 10,000 troops ready to fight.
Both maps are absolutely gorgeous. The new DLC is... Phasma's blaster is basically a pea shooter and Finn is not that much better. And for the next 3 months, it's absolute radio silence. There is basically no new content anywhere. The various bugs and server issues remained, player counts plummeted, and those who stayed questioned whether or not DICE had completely given up on the game, as communication with the studio was non-existent. But fast forward to late January, and DICE comes back with yet another announcement. And this time, it's big. Real big. Turns out, behind the scenes, they had been working on the impossible. After hours upon hours of work, they had finally finished it. A revamped progression system. My God.
This is absolutely huge news for Star Wars Battlefront 2, and not just this progression update, but the future of the game in general.
Progression is now linear. Star cards or any other item impacting gameplay will only be earned through gameplay and will not be available for purchase. Crates will no longer include star cards and cannot be purchased, and going forward, crates would only include credits or cosmetic items like emotes or victory poses. Starting in April, fans would be able to purchase appearances directly through in-game credits or crystals, with the first new appearances coming soon. Last but not least, all existing heroes and villains would be unlocked for all players.
This update is what the game should have been at launch. This is the first step to bringing us the Battlefront that we all wanted to play in the first place. It's a complete redesign of the progression system, and it's a hell of a lot better.
Maybe it actually wasn't too late, fans told themselves. The good news didn't stop there either. February brought new Hoth-inspired skins for Luke, Leia, and Han, jetpack cargo, and they finally fixed the explosive shot glitch. And thank God, because that shit was horrifying.
Watch this. Look at this. How is this in the game? Why is this in the game?
It was good at close range, it was good at long range, and you don't even have to hit enemies because of the splash damage. It deleted heroes in seconds, and lightsaber heroes had it the worst because you couldn't even block the damage. And the worst part about it is that it wasn't just limited to one player. Every single heavy in the game is running this strat because why would you run anything else? And for the first time since the beta, a little over 6 months after release, fans were finally hopeful.
I'm still hoping they put in Clone Wars content and put in Obi-Wan and Grievous. That's my hope.
A month later, and it's finally time for DICE to announce the next official season. Rumors start to spread. Hold up. Just a couple of months ago, DICE confirmed that this game would have content from all eras.
All eras of Star Wars. Playable in Battlefront 2.
And we just got sequel content. A new season is coming up, so that could only mean one thing.
Hello there.
And on May the 3rd, DICE took the stage for yet another announcement. Gentlemen, the next season of Star Wars Battlefront 2 will be entirely dedicated to Han Solo.
Man, what the fuck is you talking about?
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry, man. I wasn't thinking about it.
Just a little while ago, it felt like a miracle. DICE was actually giving us everything that we asked for. They fixed the dogshit servers, they removed the predatory microtransactions, and they reworked the convoluted progression system. The only thing left fans wanted to see was Clone Wars content. And they give us this?
All I ever wanted was the Clone Wars. You know, General Grievous, Obi-Wan, Anakin Skywalker. That's my favorite Star Wars character. Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. I just want these people in the Clone War, into Star Wars Battlefront. They can't even give that to us.
The first part of the season would drop the very next week. In it included new skins for Lando and Leia, as well as the all-new game mode Hero Showdown. And it also brought back Jabba's Palace from Battlefront 2015. Fast forward to June and it's time for E3. Fans are on their hands and knees. If there ever was a time for Clone Wars content to be announced, it would be right here at E3. Fans had been forced to endure so much shit throughout this game's lifespan that even just one more bad update, one more bad announcement would be enough to send them over the edge.
So we launched our game in November of last year, and clearly we didn't get it quite right. So we decided to completely overhaul our progression system and add a bunch of new character cosmetics for players to collect instead. So looking forward a little bit, this summer we will be introducing a new squad system to the game, which will allow you to team up much easier and play with your friends. We're also adding a new starfighter mode focused around dogfighting with your hero ships. And looking ahead a little bit more, we will also be delivering a new large-scale multiplayer sandbox experience focused around capturing command posts and attacking and taking out capital ships.
No mention of Clone Wars content anywhere.
But that's not all. We know that you have been asking for new heroes, villains, and planets from a certain era that features a very iconic Star Wars conflict. So I'm excited to confirm that Battlefront 2 this year, we'll be going deep into the Clone Wars.
With the E3 announcement, DICE promised fans 3 important things. Number 1, throughout the Clone Wars season, fans would be getting 4 new heroes: General Grievous, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku, and Anakin Skywalker. Number 2, fans would be getting a brand new map, Geonosis. And number 3, an all-new large-scale game mode, but fans would have to wait another 4 months before the eventual release of the Clone Wars season. And during this time, content slowed to a crawl. Mid-June brought the second half of the Han Solo season. With it came new skins for Han, Lando, and Chewie based upon the movie. Lando's Millennium Falcon was also added as a new hero ship, Kessel as a new map, and we finally saw the return of the fan favorite mode, Extraction. July introduced the new Hero Starfighters mode, along with a complete rework of lightsaber combat. And you can now finally turn your lightsaber on and off on command. Blocking now affects stamina, meaning that you can no longer infinitely block. Stamina is now tuned differently for each individual hero, meaning that each hero now feels and plays a lot more uniquely. Vader is excellent at blocking, but attacking drains his stamina much faster, while Luke will feel more balanced and well-rounded as his stamina regenerates faster than normal. But for some reason, Darth Maul and Yoda are still the only 2 lightsaber heroes in the game that can't block. The bug where Palpatine can kill through walls is back, terrorizing lobbies yet again. It's so bad that this time they have to completely delete Palpatine from the game. Ewok Hunt is also added back to the game, and it's still a ton of fun. August introduced the first Clone Trooper appearances, and emotes and victory poses can now be purchased directly instead of through loot crates.
Judge me by my size, do you?
And battle point costs for all heroes and units are lowered across the board in Galactic Assault. September would introduce an all-new squad system. You would no longer get put into a random squad each time you spawned, regardless of if you were playing with friends or not. You now have the ability to spawn on members within your squad rather than having to spawn all the way back at the start of the map. October finally comes and we get an all-new roadmap. Grievous would be coming at the end of the month along with some game improvements. Obi-Wan and Geonosis in November, Dooku in January, and Anakin, as well as the brand new game mode in February. It was almost time. Clone Wars content was right around the corner, fans were on the edge of their seats, and all we had to do was just lock in for a couple more weeks. Turns out that was a little bit harder than expected. Sometimes the class selection screen randomly gets stuck. There's this new health stacking strat with Finn, Yoda, and the officer that makes the entire enemy team unkillable, and Xbox players can't connect to the game servers.
They must have cut me.
But late October finally comes and the Clone Wars update is here.
The balance of the Force has been shaken. The Clone Wars have begun.
People log on and start playing, and wait. General Grievous looks amazing. His animations are fluid, the voice lines are incredible, and his skins and emotes are instant buys. Gameplay wise, the UI for Thrust Surge is straight up garbage. Sometimes the ability sends you flying across the map. Sometimes the ability just misses for no reason. Sometimes the ability misses and you get locked into this goofy ass Naruto run animation. Sometimes Unrelenting Advance would trigger twice, sometimes you would get locked in the animation, and sometimes you would get locked in the animation and your lightsabers would disappear. If you use Claw Rush at the same time as Rey dashes, it deals half her health bar. Sometimes Claw Rush would hit you around corners, and sometimes you would get stuck in the animation. Also, his block is piss useless against blaster fire. Jesus Christ. Obi-Wan, on the other hand, excels with his defensive playstyle. With the right star cards equipped, it's virtually impossible for enemies to break through his airtight defense. Even with the very obvious bugs, DICE had still managed to somehow capture that Star Wars feel yet again.
And the graphics themselves are just gorgeous. I mean, it is ridiculous. This game, it looks better than Attack of the Clones, and it's a video game.
And Geonosis, oh man, it's awesome. It's so good. So huge.
It's unbelievable just how immersive this map actually is. It really feels like you're right there. In the distance, you can see Hellfire droids, spider tanks, spider droids, Republic warships, and you can control just about every part you can think of in the ATTE. There's so many little details that make you really appreciate the uniqueness of this map all the more, like the lightsabers that illuminate the battlefield in the midst of ravaging sandstorms. The fact that playing as the Separatists is hilarious.
Win or be deactivated. One less clone.
While playing as the Republic feels like you really could die at any moment.
Any surviving units? We need more time to rig the charges on the droid factory. You've got to push those clankers back. Contact the Republic. Do whatever you have to do. Tell them we need help now.
While the other galactic assault maps focused more on illustrating the beginning of the siege, Geonosis did the opposite. The game starts directly in the heat of battle. The Separatists have obliterated the Republic's defenses, but one squad survived. You're a part of the last squad of clone troopers that are tasked with defending a factory, and it is heartbreaking.
All that's left, sir. You can count on us.
The last few months of the year started off rocky, but for a lot of fans, DICE was clearly taking steps in the right direction.
Battlefront 2, keep listening to the fans, keep doing what you're doing, keep giving us all this great, wonderful, awesome, free content that we can play around with, and just bring it on, you know? Make the fans happy. That's ultimately what we want. We just want to be happy, we want to be submerged into that world, and I think you are doing a really good job at giving us what we want. So, keep it coming. I'm enjoying it very thoroughly.
It's the day before the Dooku update, and fans are concerned. There has been no news anywhere. Half of the content schedule has been delayed, there's still no trailer, and we haven't even seen a single image of Dooku yet. But the day finally comes, and from a visual standpoint, compared to Grievous and Obi-Wan, Dooku is the best looking by far. His fighting animations are phenomenal, his lightning looks like it was copy pasted straight from the movies, and his playstyle flawlessly matches his fighting style from the Clone Wars animated series. All of his abilities are very well thought out and match pretty much exactly how you would expect him to play. He's not as fast as the other characters, but to make up for it, he's a lot more agile. Overall, his playstyle requires a lot of forward thinking and strategy. Without utilizing his abilities as needed, he's very easily taken down. But a Dooku that knows what he's doing is arguably the best hero in the game. A month later, Anakin releases, and he is instantly the most busted hero in the game. A fully charged heroic might one-shots every single character in the game, including characters like Vader, who can have upwards of 900 health. Its damage is multiplied by the amount of damage he takes during the animation, meaning that any trooper or blaster hero near Anakin automatically gets deleted from the game. The range of the ability is also multiplied as well, meaning that even if Anakin isn't near you, he can still one-shot you from across the map. The only way to not instantly get blown up by this ability is to hopefully time your roll correctly or block it with a lightsaber. But there's only one problem. Anakin's passionate strike ability lets him hit through blocks, and it's a knockdown. His force pull has insane range, and it also brings you directly in range to get one shot by his heroic might. And if all of that wasn't enough, he also has a 360-degree force choke as a fourth ability. Even if you somehow manage to get Anakin low enough to where he just might die, he can just press 2 buttons and he's back to full health. There was a very clear difference between release Anakin and every other character in the game. Anakin was so disgusting that DICE had to issue a nerf just 1 week after his release, saying, while Anakin should always be a formidable opponent, we felt that being able to one-shot heroes from such a great distance was not optimal. Despite how absurdly broken this character was, it still doesn't beat his record versus the younglings. The Chosen One update did bring along some really good changes though. There's now 11 different potential clone trooper legions to choose from, like the 501st, the Coruscant Guard, and actual clone officer appearances. Late March brings along the all-new large-scale game mode Capital Supremacy, and it feels like a breath of fresh air. The atmosphere as a whole feels like you're a part of this massive war, and the new reinforcements are so cool. ARC troopers dual-wield pistols, and you can control them individually with the trigger buttons. The commando droids are like mini assassins. Lightsaber combat has finally been reworked. You can't just hold block and spam abilities anymore. The new system rewards you for managing your stamina correctly, incentivizes you to actually maneuver behind opponents to land hits, and altogether makes lightsaber combat feel a lot more interactive. The only complaint fans had with this update was the fact that Geonosis was the only Capital Supremacy map. But they didn't have to wait too long, as Kashyyyk, Kamino, and Naboo are all added to Capital Supremacy in the months that followed. And with that, DICE had finally fulfilled each of the promises that they made to fans back at E3 in the summer. Grievous and Obi-Wan were finally in a good state and a ton of fun.
I got him after.
I missed him. I
got him
That was my
after.
fault.
Damn it.
I was so hyped up because it was a perfect situation that I was hacking and slashing at the air.
Dooku is probably the best 1v1 lightsaber hero in the game, and Anakin. The next couple of months are relatively quiet, as most of the updates are just things like fixed an issue where Obi-Wan's beard clipped through his face. Droidicas are added as a new reinforcement, there's a new Princess Leia skin, heroes cost the same number of points across all maps, health on kill is finally added as a passive ability instead of making it a mandatory equip for every single hero in the game. There's more Anakin nerfs, even more Anakin nerfs, and even more Anakin nerfs. And DICE finally removed the targeting system from HVV. No longer are players plagued by some loser Luke running around the map at light speed the entire game, or Boba Fett hiding in exploit spots. And finally, after almost a year and a half since the game's release, Darth Maul can block, and his lightsaber throw is actually useful. The hitbox has been significantly increased, meaning that it can more easily hit literally anything that you're aiming at.
And as you can see, my lightsaber throw is going straight through Yoda. It doesn't matter where I aim, it doesn't matter how close I am, it's just going straight through him.
Maul enjoyers finally get to have fun. It's September and DICE drops yet another update, and it's big. So big, in fact, that fans are even calling it the best content update this game has ever seen. You've seen Felucia before, but never in this much detail. It's easily the most beautiful map in the game. The Clone Commando is back from Star Wars Republic Commando, and they look incredible. The Clone Wars season was the best season of content that Star Wars Battlefront 2 had ever seen. General Grievous, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Geonosis, Count Dooku, Anakin Skywalker, Capital Supremacy, Felucia, new reinforcements, new clone appearances, new hero appearances, and countless bug fixes and quality of life updates. It was very clear Star Wars Battlefront 2 had finally become a great game.
After over 2 years of updates and changes, EA and DICE have redeemed this gorgeous shooter and turned it into one of the best multiplayer adaptations of the Star Wars universe to date. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a redemption story worthy of the Skywalker saga. It's a big, broad, beautiful shooter that nails the Star Wars atmosphere almost everywhere. It's a great package now that serves as one of the best and most thrilling ways to have an authentic Star Wars gaming experience.
But despite how great the game had now become, EA still needed a way to bring back the fans who were turned away initially by the game's unholy release. The Celebration Edition was the next step in the game becoming the ultimate Star Wars experience. It was a new face for the game, a relaunch, and a fresh start for Star Wars Battlefront 2. Let's say you're a new player and you want to get a skin for your favorite character, Luke Skywalker. His epic rarity Yavin Ceremony skin costs 40,000 credits, which will probably take you a long time to grind out. You could also get it with 1,000 crystals or $9. That's $9 for one skin. The Celebration Edition is $25 and it contains over 150 skins, including 6 legendary appearances, over 100 emotes, over 90 victory poses, and it also includes all new content released in future updates. That's 2 years worth of content for one single purchase. Whether you're a fan of the original trilogy, the prequels, or even the sequels, this is exactly what fans were asking for with the game's release. And after 11 months of Clone Wars content, fans were finally ready for something new. Coinciding with the release of the film, the Rise of Skywalker update added an all-new map, Agent Kloss, and 4 all-new reinforcements. The Sith Trooper looks incredible and it is a whole lot of fun. Jet Troopers are like mini Boba Fett's. The Ovitian Gunners delete vehicles and the Kafek Spy can call in an airstrike. Fans are intrigued. DICE somehow found a way to make the sequel maps actually worth playing. And just over a month later, DICE announces the next big update. Capital Supremacy and Instant Action would be expanding to sequel era maps, and 2 all-new heroes, BB-8 and BB-9E. Fans are confused. DICE, you have to be joking. Nope, it's not a joke. This shit is happening. They take a bit of getting used to, but as it turns out, these 2 are actually a whole lot of fun.
Stage of our assault is at hand. Now capture that last resistance position.
Also, even more Anakin nerfs for funsies. With a little over 3 months of sequel content now added to the game, the only thing left to do was return to the classic Age of Rebellion. February added the original trilogy maps to co-op, 4 new weapons, 1 for each class, and 2 new reinforcements, the Ewok Hunter and the ISB Agent. The ISB Agent is like a stealthier version of the Sith Trooper, but for whatever reason, DICE decided to give these little furries some of the highest damage in the game. Ewoks can one-shot all troopers and reinforcements with a charged arrow to the head. Almost every dark side villain dies in 2 hits, and even characters like Vader and Grievous are left with just 2 health. It had been more than 2 years, with over 25 free content updates. DICE somehow shaped and expanded Star Wars Battlefront 2 into something truly special for Star Wars fans. They introduced game-changing heroes, fan-favorite reinforcements, exotic planets, and all new ways to play across all 3 cinematic eras. But there was a shift in the force. Fans didn't want to admit it, but everyone could see that the end was near. DICE had just released their final community news update article. The creative director announced that he wasn't just done with Battlefront 2, but Star Wars altogether, and on April 29th, 2020, DICE released its final major content update for Star Wars Battlefront 2. The Age of Rebellion would be added to Supremacy and Instant Action, and we would be getting an all-new map, Scarif, finally bringing an end to not only the Age of Rebellion, but also to this amazing game as a whole. It was a sad day to be a Star Wars fan. It was bittersweet. Fans had been through countless ups and downs, but after all was said and done, they couldn't help but wonder what could have been. DICE announced that Battlefront 2 was content complete, but there were so many characters that we never got to see. Characters like Ahsoka, Ventress, and Padme all had voice lines in the files.
The Padawan, Skywalker's apprentice. So many lightsabers to add to my collection. Tano, so it is to be a rematch then. Your master is not here to save you now.
Did you know a woman named Ventress?
No. Senator Amidala, I presume. Oh, I've never killed a queen before. I will laugh as Naboo mourns your death. You only prolong the inevitable.
Imagine playing as Rex, Cody, Ezra, or Kanan. Imagine getting to play as Jango Fett, Cad Bane, or Mace Windu. There were so many other planets we could have got too, like Coruscant, Umbara, or Mustafar. It's crazy to think that this actually did become one of EA's most ambitious titles. It's just a shame that their ambition was cut short.